guys, hope you're doing very well. In today's video I'm starting a new series, and it's a series where you guys help me. If you're part of my Facebook group you'll know what this video is about, but if you don't know what this video is about, basically in my Facebook group I put out a post saying something along the lines of I want to start a new series and it's going to be called Advice 2. And I've made plenty of videos talking about my experiences with the tattoos and the piercings that I've had over the past 2-3 years that I've been doing YouTube. I thought it would be about time that I start involving your guys' experiences also, because everyone is different. I always talk from my experience and not everyone's going to have the same experience as I am. I have a different pain threshold to you guys. I have a different taste in tattoos than some of you guys. Like, I'm different to you guys and you guys are different to me, so I thought it'd be a good idea to get more people's experiences and talk about them and share them, just for more information and more tattoo education, so to say. So I put out a post on the 14th of August asking, you know, what is something you wish you had known before you got your first tattoo? Like, what advice would you give someone who is getting their first tattoo? Now, I've already made a video like this maybe a couple of months ago or so, saying what you should know before you get your first tattoo, or what I wish I had known before I got tattooed or something like that. I'm not sure. Or what you should know before you get your first tattoo. I don't know. I've made so many videos about tattoos. I forget what I've made nowadays, honestly. So I thought I would involve you guys. There were so many comments. I think there was 133 comments on this post, so obviously I can't read every single one out, and some of them were kind of the same, so I've kind of picked a wide variety that is different, and hopefully it will help you guys that are thinking about getting your first tattoo, or even if you have a couple of tattoos. These bits of advice may help you in the long run. I wish there was this kind of information around on the internet when I first started getting tattooed, because I've made some mistakes, as you guys know. So the first one that I've got here is from Kayla, and she said, figure out how you're going to heal and what you need to heal your tattoo so that you can buy it before your tattoo is done. This eliminates the ordeal of having to drive around to get the things you need after your session, especially if the session ends late or you have to travel afterwards. Also, don't be afraid to speak up if you don't like the placement of the tattoo or the tattoo. Your artist may do this for a living, but they aren't perfect. If you think your tattoo isn't straight, then speak up. I like that advice, like all of this. This is something that I need to listen to, honestly, because the amount of times I've got a tattoo and realised that I've run out of Stanoderm, or I haven't got anything to heal my tattoo with. And sometimes, you know, if your session ends late, all you want to do is go home and eat and sleep. You don't want to be looking for tattoo aftercare in the evening. So that is very good advice. And also about the placement thing, that is true. If you feel like it's not in a good position, just let the artist know. But saying that, the artist sometimes does know best. Like, I don't know, like if an artist says we can't put it here because it's going to make it, you know, skew if or whatever, listen to them. But if you're like adamant that it's like not straight or whatever, let them know. The next one is from Elizabeth, and she said, I wish I had known that it's alright to ask the artist to make changes to their sketch. I wish I had spoken up and pointed out the things I was hesitant about. That is also a good bit of advice. Don't feel afraid to tell an artist that, you know, you want something changing or whatever, because at the end of the day it is on your body. They're not going to be offended. They get asked to change things so many times. Like, I don't know if I've ever asked an artist to change anything. I'm not entirely sure if I have. I don't think I have. But I've got like no creativity, so anytime an artist shows me a sketch or a drawing, I'm like, oh my god, that is beyond what I had in my brain. So I'm just like, I'm happy with that. But if you're not happy with that, that's totally normal. I'm sure it happens to everyone that has a few tattoos, and it's normal. Anyway, next bit of advice is from Monica. She said, this may sound dumb, obvious, but I didn't think about it until my first tattoo was over. You're letting someone permanently draw on you, so it's better to not make a split decision. I picked this and I like this, even though I have some spur of the moment tattoos myself. Afterwards I have thought, shit, this is on me forever. Like, you kind of forget how permanent tattoos are the more you get tattooed, if that makes any sense. If you become sort of like a tattoo collector, you end up forgetting kind of sort of that it's on you for life. You just see a bit of artwork that you really, really like from a flash sheet from an artist you like, and you're just like, oh, I really like that, I'll have that. And you kind of forget that it's on you for life. And obviously you love it, but like, yeah, you do end up forgetting how permanent these tattoos are. Not in a bad way, not in a regret way. But that was good advice from Monica there. The next bit of advice is from Jennifer. She said, eat your breakfast / lunch / dinner before you go to be tattooed. I was very woozy after my first tattoo because I hadn't eaten properly that day. Very good bit of advice. I've mentioned that in a lot of videos. But that is always my number one tip before getting tattooed. Just make sure you eat something. Even if you're super nervous and super scared, eat a croissant, I don't know, eat some chips, eat a bag of crisps. Just make sure you eat something. Obviously, the more substantial, the better. I'm not going to advise you to eat just a croissant, but if that's all you can eat, then obviously just eat that, but just make sure you do eat. But the more substantial the meal, the better it is for you. The next one is from Victoria, and she said, my only advice, plan ahead. Even if it's your first tattoo, keep in mind any future tattoos you may want. That way you won't end up picking a placement that may limit your future endeavours. I love this bit of advice. I really, really wish I had known this, especially for like this black and grey sleeve here. I have a bow just randomly here. It's got nothing to do with the sleeve at all. That's kind of annoying. That was done before the sleeve. And then I have obviously little random tattoos on this arm that take up valuable space for my traditional tattoos, especially my first tattoo, the butthole star right here. That's just like there, it's annoying, it's taking up some space. And my quote tattoo in my inner arm here, I don't hate it, I still love this tattoo, but again, it's taking up valuable space. Like I could have something awesome here that's traditional, but I can't do that because of that. I mean, I could get a cover up, but I actually do like that tattoo, so I'm not going to. So think ahead, which is obviously very hard unless you have a massive list of tattoos you want, which a lot of you do. I've been seeing your list on my Facebook group of what your future tattoo plans are, and a lot of you plan ahead, which is good, but just keep in mind of placements. ETC, there is a dog screaming match going on outside, you can probably hear that. So the next one is actually a super cute one, and this is from Lizzie. She said, change your bed sheets before the tattoo so it's nice and clean, ready for you to have a long nap in when you get home. I thought that was super cute, and that's something I've never done before. It's also good for like hygienic reasons, just to have a clean bed, because you might spend quite a bit of time in your bed after getting a tattoo. I definitely do. I end up having like an after tattoo nap sometimes, so I don't know, it would just be super nice to come home into a nice clean bed. Does anyone else like that clean bed feeling where your sheets are so soft and snuggly? So I really like that one. The next bit of advice is from Nicole, and she said, if you want to start small, great, but if you don't. The same goes for painful areas of the body. I started with the sternum, which hurt a ton, but now other tattoos I get will hurt less in comparison. If you have a super low pain tolerance, you might want to ease into it more, but otherwise just get what you want where you want. So I've definitely, holding my hands up here, always said, you know, start small for your first tattoo, because you don't know if you like the feeling of being tattooed, you don't know if you like the look of being tattooed. That's always my worry when people jump in and get a big tattoo. You know, they may book in for like a 12-hour tattoo that's spread over 3-4 months or whateve, and you go for the first session and you end up realising that one, you don't like being tattooed, you hate the feeling, you hate being in a tattoo studio, and you end up with like half-assed outline of a tattoo on your back, and you either laser it off or, I don't know, you just don't get it finished, which obviously barely ever happens. Most people know they want to be tattooed, but that's the reason why I've always said start small. But things are definitely changing and people are more committed to the tattoo lifestyle, so in all honesty, if you want a big tattoo for your first one, go for it, but just, you know, mentally prepare yourself for what you're going to get in for, especially if it's a long session. The next one is from Melsa, and she said, make sure you are wearing appropriate clothes. If you're getting an arm tattoo, don't wear 4 layers of long sleeves. This is so true. I guess this normally applies for like winter time. In summer, it's a lot easier to get certain body parts tattooed because you're not dressed so much. You know, you have 1 layer, you might be wearing shorts and a t-shirt or whatever. But in winter, especially if you live somewhere like England or wherever else is cold, you layer up for definite, otherwise you freeze to death. But yeah, I like what she said, make sure you're dressed appropriately. What you can do is you can always wear whatever you want to the studio and then bring like a t-shirt with you in your bag or whatever, and then change in the studio's bathroom. Most studios, I think all studios, have a toilet area where you can get changed in. They won't mind at all because you're going to be making their life a lot more easier, and they'll understand that it's absolutely freezing cold outside or whatever, and you can change into something. This also applies for people that don't feel comfortable, say, wearing shorts outside but you want a thigh tattoo. Just bring a pair of shorts with you, and you can change into them for your session, and then you can change back into your jeans or whatever afterwards. Okay, the next one is from Niam. I'm definitely saying that name wrong, I'm so sorry. Give yourself a decent budget to get the best tattoo possible. Even if it does mean waiting a little while to get something, it means you'll be going to a great artist you've done your research on and have a tattoo you will love and will stand the test of time. I love this bit of advice. I definitely see tattoos as an investment nowadays. Now that's not to say that you should be spending thousands upon thousands of pounds, but if you find an artist you really love, save up for it. It's so worth it because it is on your body for the rest of your life. Basically, so if you do need to wait a little while and save up, believe me, it's so worth it. I wish I had known this advice, because when I first started getting tattooed I would kind of shop around, so to say, to try and find an artist that would do the best quality of work but for cheapest. This is back when I was like 17, 18, not anytime soon. I feel like maybe everyone's done that before in their life, but yeah, it is very worth it to pay that a little bit of extra. Again, you don't have to spend lots and lots of money, but if you find an artist you really love and they're like, oh well, this tattoo will be £200, and it may seem like a lot, but if you think about it, that £200 spread it over your life, I mean, what is that each day? Like, the next one is from Aurora, I'm definitely saying that wrong. She said, don't wear clothes you really love, you may get some colour on it, and yeah, it's not cool. I love that, and yeah, it's not cool. Yeah, this is definitely a thing. I've definitely had a few ink splashes on like white t-shirts. Sometimes it does come out, sometimes it doesn't. That's why you might notice that some tattoo artists will wear like ink stained clothes. Sometimes the ink will not come out, sometimes it does. It depends if you're willing to take the risk or not. The next one is from Peyton, and she said the itching can get unbearable and is 100% the worst part of getting a tattoo. I 100% agree. The itching phase is, in my opinion, the worst. Actually, it's the second worst. I feel like for me personally, the day after getting a tattoo is worse, and then the itching phase is, it's awful. If you're lucky, you may not get it. I know a few of you people out there don't get it, and you've told me, and I'm super jealous that you don't get the itching phase. Like, it's just not fair. I feel like the itching phase has got something to do with maybe how your skin is also. I have quite dry skin, so maybe I get it a bit worse, I don't know. But if you have very well moisturised skin, like naturally, I feel like maybe you don't get it as bad. I don't know. The next one is from Randaline. I hope I'm saying your name right. Don't walk in and expect to just get the tattoo that day. Make sure you make an appointment. If you need a consultation, set that up. But don't be disappointed if you go for a walk-in and the artist can't actually see you that day, even if they take walk-ins occasionally. This is also very true. I've definitely had a couple of walk-ins in my life also, and you may be lucky and get a walk-in, but to avoid disappointment, it's always best to have an organised appointment that you can prepare yourself also, like mentally, physically, whatever. Yeah, I definitely like that bit of advice, and it's definitely something that I probably will be doing myself for the rest of my life. The only time that it's cool not to have an appointment, I would say, is like flash days. You don't need an appointment for flash days or charity days or whatever you want to call them. Other than that, I feel like it's better for everyone involved if you just like book the appointment, and that way you can get a piece of art that has been well thought about, I would say, because the artist will draw it beforehand, so that artist has taken some time out of their day to draw it instead of rushing it and drawing it right there and then. But I don't know, walk-in appointments are also cool. I don't know, it depends what you're after. Don't expect to get a sleeve in a walk-in appointment though, absolutely not. If you want a back piece, a sleeve, leg sleeve, a big tattoo, don't expect to get it on that day because there's just too much that goes into it. The next one is from Trista. I wish I would have known more about tattoo care and research as well, plus more about the longevity of tattoos, because I legit went in 100% expecting it to look like a fresh tattoo always, and was so mad when it didn't. Also researching artists, because I did a walk-in and got an apprentice, which turned out great, but I could have had a really bad piece. This is also very good advice. So yeah, tattoos never look the same fresh to healed. They will lose a little bit of their vibrancy, so they won't be as bold and vibrant and what I would call juicy. They will settle down quite a bit once they are healed, and that's because like the layers of skin are going back over it. It's kind of hard to explain, but tattoo ink goes down, I think 6 layers of skin. Is it 6 layers? I don't know. And then obviously like with the needle jabbing in stuff, like the skin needs to heal back over it, and that's what makes the tattoo look a little bit duller than what it was beforehand. But it's not like a drastic change, but you can kind of see the difference. Most highly saturated tattoos that I've had that have maybe gone, whoa, these are so fucking bright, is my pumpkin tattoo. Now obviously that does not look bright anymore, but if I flag up a picture of what it looked like when it was freshly done, it looked like a temporary tattoo. It was that vibrant and bold and just like, whoa, juicy, you know. And my alien tattoo, which is actually still kind of bold and vibrant, but it has lost a little bit of its like vibrancy because again, it's healed, it's settled down. So no tattoo ever stays completely like neon bright and vibrant and what have you, but they still look bright and vibrant, especially my alien one. It's still like bright green, but it's not like bam, you know. And that's just because it's healed. The next one is from Wendy, and she gave 3 points. So number 1, she said, some level of doubt is normal if you love the design and trust the artist. See if that doubt is just from the idea of the permanency of the tattoo. Once it's on your skin, the doubts start to fade when you realise it isn't the biggest deal in the world, that a picture that you love, by the way, is on your skin forever. Love that bit of advice. It is completely normal to have like little bits of doubt before the tattoo and after the tattoo. I've done a video about tattoo remorse, tattoo regret. I'll leave a link down below if you want to know more about that from my point of view. The second bit of advice she gave is, don't let friends or family sway you on size. It's on you forever. If you want a hand size tattoo but you got a palm size one instead because your peers made you scared about the size, you might regret that decision to shrink the design later. What seems big to your non-tattoo peers is totally irrelevant. I love this. I've stopped telling people that I'm getting tattoos. Honestly, like when it comes to my family and stuff, I used to be like, oh, I'm getting a tattoo. But I stopped because, 1, sometimes they didn't like the design, or 2, the placement. So either, I mean, if you feel like you have to tell people, then obviously that's fine, but don't listen to the negativity. If you like it, that's all that matters at the end of the day. What they say doesn't matter. And the third bit of advice she said is, pick an artist that you trust, then listen to them. If they insist a design won't look good, or if a placement would look weird with the design, seriously take that into consideration. They've done this job for years and seen so many more tattoos and have a better idea of tattoo aesthetic than you do. Ultimately, it is your body, but if your artist is very against it, it's probably a sign it needs a little changing. I 110% agree with this one. It just comes down to the fact that if you, I don't know, want a very, very small tattoo and it's not going to work, they will let you know. And they may persist on saying, hey, we need to make this bigger, or we need to make a few changes. They're doing it out of the kindness of their heart, and they care about you and what your tattoo will look like in 5, 10, 15 years time. And also with like smaller tattoos, you can't fit as much detail in them as you can a big tattoo. So say for my tiger one, imagine if I wanted this like really small, half of the detail in this wouldn't be there. You just couldn't fit it in. So the bigger the better. Obviously not everyone wants big tattoos, that's understandable. Not everyone can have big tattoos because of their job or whatever, but listen to the advice the tattoo artist is giving you, especially if you love their work and you've looked through their Instagram page and you think, I love that, I love that, I love that. Imagine some of those people have gone in there and said, hey, I want this, and then the tattoo artist has been like, actually we need to do this to make it look better. You know, they're the tattoos that you love. The next one is from Juliet, and she said, always check the healed work of an artist. Just because it looks good when fresh does not mean it will in the long term. 100% agree with this. Also check artists' Instagram stories and their pages to see if there is healed work. You can always tell the difference between what is healed and what is fresh. Again, like I was saying earlier, a healed tattoo is a lot more bright, vibrant, juicy, and then a healed one looks a little bit more duller. You can definitely see the contrast between what's new and what's healed. On an Instagram page, it's definitely a red flag if an artist doesn't post healed tattoos. Obviously they don't have to post one every day or every week or whatever. It's just to show that they're proud of how their work is healed and how it looks healed. And if an artist doesn't do that, it is kind of red flag to say, hey, their tattoos don't heal right, or they're not proud of the way they healed. Especially with micro tattoos and single needle tattoos, you'll notice a lot of those artists do not post healed work. Not saying all, but some. Yep. The next bit of advice is from Chantel, and she said, I wish I knew it was okay to call it quits if need be and not push myself further than I could handle. Also to do more research on artists and not rush to find the first one I find. Good bits of advice. I especially like the one on calling it quits. So if you do have a long session of like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours or whatever, say you've been getting tattooed for like, I don't know, 2, 3 hours and you kind of hitting your limit, it's okay to tell the artist and be like, hey, I'm so sorry, I can't handle it anymore. And what they will do is they'll either carry on to a natural stopping point. So if they're like mid-line, they're not going to stop mid-line. They'll carry on to the end of where the line should end, and they'll stop there and say, hey, no worries, we'll continue on your next session. Don't feel like a wimp or a pussy or whatever people call it when people tap out. It's fine. Like, not everyone can handle getting a tattoo. I've definitely hit my limit once before, and that was my back tattoo, and luckily Holly, who did my bigger back tattoo, said, hey, we're nearly done. And I was like, okay fine, I will push through this. But it was hard. It's definitely hard. When you hit your wall, you can't go any further. Like, your brain has given up, your body's given up. All you want to do is go home and sleep and eat, and it's perfectly normal. So even if you can handle an hour or 7 hours, whatever it is, if you want to give up, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's normal. The next one is from Rachel. My tip is to ask the artist in advance whether you'll see and can make changes to the design before your appointment. For me, I find this reassuring as I get anxious and can't sleep running up to getting a tattoo, and this comes when nerves. Before I joined this group, I assumed it was the norm that your artist sent the design over for any tweaks a few days before, but I now realise this is the exception. If an artist doesn't show you, then don't panic, as any changes and tweaks to the design could be made on the day. I like this as a bit of advice, so I'm the opposite. I like a surprise. I like to see the design on the day, because like I was saying earlier, I've never made any changes to a tattoo. I always like what the artist produces. But if your tattoo is going to be a meaningful one, or you have like a image in your head and the artist hasn't been able to replicate that, then you can request to see the design before. But sometimes an artist actually will design the tattoo the night before your appointment, which has happened to me many times. But if you let your artist know when you book the appointment through the email, say, hey, is there any way I could see the design beforehand? The only reason I feel like an artist may not show you is because you may take that design, take it to another artist and get it tattooed. I feel like some artists may have a couple of trust issues to do with that, which is rightfully so. I'm sure that's happened to many artists throughout their careers, so that's why they don't tend to send designs over until the actual day or whatever, or they just won't show you at all. But if you explain to them like, hey, you know, not seeing the design beforehand makes me a little bit anxious, then I'm sure they can, you know, send it over. It depends on the artist, honestly. Next one is from Alice. She said, I've got tats on my leg. I wish I knew about the pain in the morning after when you put your leg on the floor. I've definitely mentioned this before. Oh my gosh, I hate that so much. So if you've ever had like a lower leg tattoo or a lower arm tattoo, for that, this happens as well. But basically, when you've been sort of in one position for a long time, say you've been asleep, and then all of a sudden you get up, the blood rushes down, like gravity takes over, and then you get this insane pain in your leg. I don't know if everyone gets it. I think a lot of you have got it if you have tattoos. But like, yeah, there's this insane like bruised pain. I can't explain it, but it's intense. And yeah, I wish I knew that, because when that first happened to me, I don't know what tattoo I had. I think it might have been one of my arm ones. It might have even been this horrific bow that I got the first ever like bruised pain when I put my arm down. And it happens also when you're washing your hair. So if you've got like a lower arm tattoo and then you put your arms up to wash your hair, you get this like weird feeling of the blood rushing down your arms, and it's just like, oh my god. And the next thing she said is, I knew that you get gunky nasty slime from new tattoos, but not that it's normal. Hang on, wait. Okay, I'm just reading this. I think she's saying that when you get a new tattoo, it's gonna leak, but it's completely normal. It's like excess blood, sweat, excess ink, and it kind of all leaks out, and it looks very messy and it looks very scary. I remember the first time I got my first ever tattoo, which was the star, I literally thought all the ink had come out. I was just like, oh my god, my tattoo's disappeared. But it's not, it's just sweat, excess ink, etc, and it's completely normal. Sometimes when you get the tattoo, it can like run down your leg or run down your arm. It's completely normal, don't freak out. The next one is from Savannah. She said, I just found out acne and stuff can affect the outcome of a tattoo, so I wish I'd known to do some TLC to the area I was getting tattooed beforehand. Exfoliate a week before and moisturise every day. I know this doesn't work for the last minute tattoos, but it would be helpful. I had absolutely no idea about how acne could affect a tattoo. I never even thought about it personally, but I could see as to why it would affect a tattoo. So I guess, you know, look after your acne areas and take Savannah's advice. That's really helpful. I never even thought about something like that, so that could help. The next one is from Elise. She said, check for specific booking info on the artist's social media so you know what info to include when contacting them. When in doubt, be as thorough as possible in your communications. So the top few things that I would say to put in an email personally that I do is what the design is, reference photos, placement, size. I normally go for inches, so is it like 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches long. Also a photo of the area that you want to get tattooed in could be helpful also, especially if you have quite a few tattoos, like this is for people that have tattoos, not first tattoo or whatever. Even if you don't have tattoos, what you can do is take a picture of the placement you want to get tattooed in and then do like a little red circle and say, hey, I want the tattoo here. That can help them a lot. Also, contact information, like your phone number, maybe that's maybe not so relevant, they may just ask for that if they need it, and maybe dates you're available also, that may help. Anyway, carrying on from Elisa's advice, she said be honest and ask questions of your artist if something concerns you. Any decent artist will be willing to answer any questions to make sure a client has a good first tattoo experience. 100% correct. Don't hesitate to ask questions at all. They can be silly questions, trust me. I know tattoo artists get asked so many bizarre, weird questions, and you asking, hey, will this hurt, or what do you think is the best placement, or you know, what hurts more, lining or shading or whatever. Those questions aren't going to be weird. The next one is from Robin. It doesn't have to be meaningful. If you want a tattoo of a fried egg because you like fried eggs, then get that tat. I love that. I love that so much. So many people try and find a very meaningful first tattoo, and honestly, if you don't have anything you want that's meaningful, who gives a shit? Do it. I have the most random shit tattooed on me and I love them so much. So if you like fried eggs, get fried eggs. If you like chicken nuggets, get a chicken nugget tattoo. Don't feel like you have to have a meaningful tattoo. People will ask you what it means, which is kind of annoying, but just do it, go for it, get it. I like that. The next one is from Bethany. She did put a list, but I've picked the top two that she did. She said, tattoo apprentice advice. I try to tell newbies about all of this when they come into the shop, like most tattoo shops should. Check for a good artist, make sure the style you want is something they're comfortable with. Don't go to a traditional artist and ask for a photorealism unless they have that background in their portfolio. Otherwise, know who you're going to. You'll get better results when it is in their skill set. I preach this all the time. You are much better going to an artist that specialises in traditional, realism, neo-traditional. You'll get a much better tattoo result. And number two, she said, don't go shopping for tattoos like looking for the cheapest option available in your area. I've covered that earlier, but that comes from a tattoo apprentice, but they're so true. Just pay for the decent artwork that you deserve. And that one was the last one. Okay, so if you have any further advice for people that are about to get their first tattoo, or maybe their second tattoo, third tattoo, you know, some of this stuff can apply to people with tattoos also. You might learn something from this video, or if you comment down below, someone might learn something from your bits of advice. If there's any sort of advice to videos that you'd like me to do where I ask people that watch my videos, hey, what advice would you give to someone that wants, I don't know, a rose tattoo or a sternum tattoo or a face tattoo or a neck tattoo or a hand tattoo, we can definitely keep this ball rolling. It might be helpful to hear other people's advice and tips and tricks. Thank you to everyone that participated in this video, whether I read your comment or not. I appreciate every single one of you taking your time and writing something. Again, there was 133 comments and there's just no way I could read all them. My mouth hurts already from just reading those, however many that was. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing very well, and until my next video, bye.